Obviously, there is a wide depth and breadth of companies that would be affected by climate legislation here in the country. Joining me now from one of those companies is Tom Wallace. He is Vice President of Advanced Energy Solutions with BAE. Tom, good to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You had said earlier that you were not assuming there will be a cap on emissions, and that based essentially is upon the fact that Congress is extremely unpredictable.
Yeah, I think when you watch the U.S. Congress, it's less predictable than the Super Bowl. It's not something that's easy to figure out. And when there is a bill, it'll be a bill that has a long-term time scale on it. There'll be plenty of time to figure out once we have some certainty. And I think many of the speakers here have made the point that the details of the bill are one thing, but the certainty of what the regulation is going to be is, in some ways, the most important part. So we're going to wait and see what happens, and when there's a bill, we'll adapt what we do.
Advanced Energy Solutions, that's your department's title. Does that essentially mean clean energy in all of its various aspects and forms?
It does. We have the business is a couple of months old. We are going to start first with the needs of our primary customer. The United States Department of Defense is actually the biggest single energy user in the United States, and by far the dominant energy user out of the federal government. They have a lot of energy needs. They have a lot of unmet needs for efficiency, reliability, sustainability. Our first step is going to be to answer those. Along the way, we expect to find opportunities where we can go out into the commercial market. And we are already, for example, one of the major providers of hybrid bus drivetrains in the world. We have 3,000 hybrid buses in New York City. We have them in Seattle. We have them in a variety of cities in the U.S. We're very happy with that business. And one of the reasons for setting up a new business is the belief that as we go forward serving our core customer, that we'll find more opportunities like that to move into commercial energy-related services and products.
Is it the same animal when you're talking about the clean energy needs of the U.S. military versus the U.S. economy? Or are there unique and specific terms under which the DoD wants to see its technology advanced?
Well, DoD is a very atypical energy user. They burn a lot more jet fuel than anybody else you'll ever find. So there are certainly some very specific needs that DoD has for their energy systems and for the processes for determining how they use energy. But there is a major portion of DoD's energy use that happens on DoD facilities or in non-tactical vehicles that looks like commercial use. And so that may be where much of the opportunity for commercial spin-off comes. When you look at DoD's energy use overall, it's about 75% atypical things like fighter aircraft or ships, and about 25% things that look like what you see when you go on a military base. There are buildings, there are vehicles, there are hangars and places where repair work is done. Those are the places where we might well see some commercial developments come from the work that we begin doing for the Department of Defense.
The program is just about to resume here at the National Energy Summit, but Tom, before I let you go and before we jump back to the stage, I want to ask you about the unique situation that BAE has that you mentioned to me. That is having plants on both sides of a cap on carbon, one in the EU, one outside of the EU specifically.
Yeah, we have some significant manufacturing base in the UK. We have significant manufacturing base in the United States. It's interesting to look at comparable plants in each place and see the effect that a consistent regulatory framework applied over several years has on the normal decisions that businesses make. And we anticipate, if there is a consistent regulatory framework in the U.S., based on the way that it deals with carbon, that we'll see the same sorts of changes happening not just in our business, but in all the businesses that are in a similar situation. When you would like to make an investment, but you don't want to be competitively disadvantaged. The key to doing that is a consistent framework that you can rely on over time.
And the primary difference between the two situations, Tom, is economic, I imagine, the cost to which you expend?
It's not. There are many energy-related decisions that do not cost you money, but do not pay back fast enough to be at the top of your list. Those are the decisions that I think will be accelerated if there is either a cost on carbon or a regulatory framework that encourages those sorts of decisions. It could be tax credits, it could be a variety of things. So it's not that businesses would do things that really didn't make sense for them because of a regulatory framework, but they would certainly do things that would not be at the top of their investment list otherwise.
All right. Tom Wallace is Vice President of Advanced Energy Solutions with BAE. Tom, thanks for taking time with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Much appreciated.